Welcome in, Chiefs Kingdom, to Cheifs Latest, your one-stop spot for everything Kansas City Chiefs, usually in 15 minutes or less. It is your host, Calvin Silvers. Welcome in. Happy Friday. Finally made it to the weekend, and I thought I was going to have to start celebrating early. I for sure thought the Broncos were going to go down against the Raiders on Thursday Night Football, but I should have been a little smarter. Come on, we knew the Raiders were just going to Raider it up. But I will say, after seeing the weaknesses of the Broncos against a much weaker divisional foe, I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident about the Chiefs entering that Week 11 contest. Of course, we'll dive into it a little bit more, but before we do, you guys know the drill. It takes 5 seconds. I just need you guys to hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on those notifications for two main reasons. The first reason being we have daily, that's right, daily videos here at Cheifs Latest, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the news, rumors, or actions regarding this team. The second reason being we have a big goal. We're trying to reach 1,000, that's right, 1,000 subscribers by the end of November this month. I truly think we can do it. You guys have been crazy with the love, the support, the comments, the likes, everything. I truly, truly appreciate it. Let's keep it up. Let's get to that 1,000 subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications as it not only helps me in the channel, but it's going to help you stay up to date with everything Kansas City Chiefs. Well, the offensive line has become a central point of discussion, and for good reasons, of course. They've been banged up the past few weeks. You had the whole Josh Simmons news, but finally, this O-line is back at home, full week off. So us fans, us in Chiefs Kingdom, can only hope that the issues that are up front will get the full attention that they need. But unfortunately, a week of rest doesn't magically just fix things. There's no magic wizard within the facility here. So there are some questions that are going to remain about this unit until we see it back on the field in Week 11. First off, is Trey Smith's back okay for this upcoming stretch? We remember that his back spasm forced him out early in Week 7 versus the Raiders, and he missed Week 8 completely against Washington. Now, KC, the good thing is we did win both of those, but when he comes back in Week 9 against the Bills, what happens? Not only does he struggle, but we lose. Of course, he was coming off a limited, week of practice. Then there's Josh Simmons. Is he ready to resume starting duties? I mean, don't even think about the rust aspect in that he might have to knock off some of that, but whatever he dealt with, he was gone for a month. That had to take a hit on his mental and just everything else, physical, mental, all that. So it's not just the fact, is he going to have some rust? Can he just jump back in and focus on his sole duty, or will there be a lot going on in his mind? Now, I certainly hope Simmons is doing well mentally and emotionally off the field, and I hope that he's physically ready to return. Jalen Moore, solid fill-in, but Simmons is the franchise blindside protector. There's no question about that. So the sooner we can have him out there, the better. But again, I hope he's doing well emotionally, physically, and I just hope he's ready to get down and get those starting duties back. And Jawan Taylor's ankle, is it truly a big deal? During the loss to Buffalo in Week 9, he left early in the fourth quarter. It was questionable to return, but we never saw him again. So how serious is it? The Chiefs kind of collapsed down the stretch. It would have been nice to have him out there. Juanita Morris stepped in at right tackle, with Moore still being at left due to Simmons' absence. So Taylor has been a strong pass protector this season. Finally got over all the early penalty frustrations and truly has done a lot better and has stepped up in his pass blocking, which has always been a more strong suit of his. So cleaning up all the mistakes made all the difference. And if the Chiefs lose him for any length of time, it's a huge blow to the starting five and a major depth concern if anything else goes wrong. So really, this bye week is make or break for the O-line. Simmons needs to reclaim the blind side, shake off the rust, make sure he's there emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever it may be. And those injuries, back spasms, ankles, those can't linger. And if they don't get right, the second half, it might be tough. It might be a disaster waiting to happen, including with our next opponent, who we're going to get into right now. We know that Denver's defense is no joke. We know they have a good pass rush. We're going to talk about it all, but we need to take a look around the AFC West because we needed the Raiders to really knock off the Broncos on Thursday night. It would have been huge, but they fell 10-7. But the continued sloppiness from Denver, especially against divisional foes, gives me some real confidence heading into Week 11. The Broncos offense, it's still not that impressive to me. I can already see Trent McDuffie, Watson, locking down Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin. This team crumbles, the Broncos that is, under divisional pressure. We've seen it. They've lost against the Chargers. And against the Raiders, for how well the Broncos have been, quote unquote, with their record, it should not have been this close. The Raiders are far lesser of an opponent than Denver is. And we saw what the Chiefs did to this Raiders team. Bo Nix threw 2 picks. Now, of course, one was on Troy Franklin, no doubt. But Denver had 7 first-half penalties and a terrible punting game as well. They opened the second half with penalties on the kick return and on the first offensive snap. So that led to a quick 3-and-out and really killed any kind of a momentum drive out of the half. The Raiders were the Raiders. Yes, they did something right, surprisingly, controlling the clock early. They pinned Broncos at the 1 and 2 yard line twice, but then a holding call wiped out a 32-yard Ashton Genty run. And really, it all kind of fell apart after that. A touchdown called back on Dante Thornton Jr.'s penalty. Geno Smith took a 4th down sack. Thornton dropped a big gain late in the half. It didn't help that they were also missing both starting guards, but Genty dropped a pass that got picked, missed a protection block, led to grounding, then a blocked punt and the go-ahead field goal. I don't see the Chiefs making even half of those mistakes that the Raiders did against Denver. I don't even see them making 75%, 80% of those mistakes. 90, you can maybe talk me into it. But again, the Raiders just Raidered it up. Denver had 11 penalties, though, 78 yards. They were drive killers. They erased first downs. They gave awful field position. The Broncos defense, they did come out, though. That was the bright spot. They had 5 first-half sacks, 6 total. Now at 46, yeah, that's right, 46 on the season. Bonito was a beast. 1.5 sacks, 8 pressures. Mahomes, when they face him, he's going to have to get it out quick. There's not going to be a lot of time for deep shots. And again, what is our own line going to look like? This is huge that they're getting the bye week now. But no PS2 helps on that Broncos defense. And the Chiefs just need to get a little pressure on Nix. As the Raiders, they just got enough. Held him to 16 of 28, 150 yards. That was a season low for Nix. Keep him in the pocket. Don't let him run. Zone discipline. When they blitz selectively, the Raiders, they had success. Picked off Nix, holding him to 2 of 5, 9 yards. So in my book, the Broncos, they're sloppy, undisciplined, and shown that they are beatable, especially against a divisional foe. The Raiders nearly stole it, and the Chiefs had no problem with Las Vegas in their last matchup. The Chiefs, they'll be rested, focused, they'll be ready for that Week 11. And I promise you, they're not going to make that many mistakes. Plus, we should like our odds with Andy Reid coming off of a bye week, which we're going to hop into right now because there's some crazy stats, some crazy numbers when it comes to his record. Because the Chiefs, sitting at 5-4, do have one positive that they can absolutely hang their helmets on right now, and that's Reid's record after the bye week. The future Hall of Fame coach is 22-4. That's 84.6% games right after regular season byes. He was 13-1, 92.7 with the Eagles from 1999 to 2012. And since taking over in Kansas City in 2013, he's 9-3 or 75%. So that's 84.6% winning percentage after byes. That's the best in the NFL. Best in NFL history among coaches with 10 or more games. John Harbaugh, 15-3, 83.3%, and Mike Tomlin is 15-4, 78.9%. They are second and third. Among active head coaches with at least 5 games after byes, Reid, he ranks third behind McDermott at 9-0 and Mike Vrabel at 6-0. Since Mahomes became the full-time starter in 2018, the Chiefs are 6-1 after bye weeks, including a 22-9 home win over the Broncos in 2021. The only loss in that stretch was a 21-17 setback at Arrowhead in 2023 to Reid's old team. That's right, the Philadelphia Eagles. That one game also kicked off a rough patch, where KC lost 3 of 4, 4 of 6 overall, but hey, they rallied after that, winning the final 6 games, including, that's right, Super Bowl 58. And if you want to, because we're having fun, if you count postseason byes, wild card weeks off, extra prep for the Super Bowl, Reid is a combined 33-8, or 80.5%. So Andy Reid after a bye, yeah, he's cash money, folks. 22-4 regular season, 6-1 with Mahomes, 33-8 total. So you get the O-line to be healed up. Reid can work over some schemes, And Denver could be in some trouble in week 11. But there's another AFC West team that we got to keep our eyes on this weekend, especially if we want any shot at winning the division or at least need to get that wild card spot, because we're sitting in third place right now in the AFC West. One game behind the Chargers, who are 6-3, and we're two back of Denver, who are 8-2. Now, we know they got two shots left at the Broncos, but if Denver holds on to win the division, a Chargers loss Sunday night to Pittsburgh would be massive for Kansas City. If it comes down to a wild card race between KC and LA, the Chiefs, I think, are in better shape. Same record. They got a Week 15 matchup, and I got KC winning that Week 15 matchup against the Chargers. I'm a little nervous about Pittsburgh. They're coming off a hard-fought 27-20 win over Indianapolis, and they might come out in a little bit of a slump, especially defensively. But they're 2-1 on the road. Only lost by 2 points and 6-3 in their last 9 against the Chargers. They're comfortable in enemy territory. That's a bright spot. Hopefully, the Steelers get it done this weekend. Not only does it help the Chiefs, but it keeps the Steelers ahead in the AFC North. And don't forget, a Chargers loss sets up perfect timing, as Reid's record after a bye could prove true if we get a victory over Denver, and it makes the Chiefs' case better in the division. So a Chargers loss can change the scenery quickly, but we just need the Steelers to do their job. Well, that is all that I have for you guys on this Friday. I hope everyone will have a safe and fun weekend. Of course, we got to watch the NFL games. We got to see how this Pittsburgh and Chargers game plays out. But seriously, with no Chiefs this week, help your mental a little bit. Just relax, take a deep breath, and we'll get back to stressing in week 11. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Again, help us reach that 1,000 subscriber goal by the end of this month. I'm your host, Calvin Silvers. You are listening to Cheifs Latest. And until next time, have a good one.